Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today? Welcome to another week of conversations with a masterful raconteur. Florida's own Barry S. McLeod. Truly the right kind of different. Today is a different kind of day for me because today I want to um, I want to express my heart, particularly to the family of Mr. Joe Fisher, also known as the Big Fish. We lost him recently, um, according to um, his Facebook page. We had been informed for the last few weeks that he had been in the hospital and stuff like that, and so I have not spoken with anyone directly in his family. So I pray that, being this is social media, um, and the information came directly from his Facebook page, that this is not some prank, you know. Um, so I just had to say that because in the moment I actually believe that the information is correct. And I just wanted to express my condolences to his family. I'm just one of thousands of people that are probably um, flooding them with condolences and et cetera, because the man was just so popular, so well known, so beloved. Um, if you don't know anything about him, he had he had a career of in the media, and he's owned and operated radio stations, and um, there's just several reasons why I have such a heart for this man. First of all, me being an entrepreneur myself, self-employed small businessman, um, is what my career has been. Um, he's just a model example of somebody that I could look to and take pointers from. Um, I learned a long time ago that um, we can never, regardless of who you are and what where you are in this world, professionally or not, we just never know sometimes exactly who it is that's watching us. Um, Sometimes in situations where you would least expect, there is somebody that's actually watching you and paying attention to you and being impacted by you. And I went down to Winter Haven. I really don't remember how long ago it's been. It's probably been 15 or so years ago. But I was doing my play Divorcing Us at a church down there. And so I needed to do some promoting. And when I got there, uh, I was told about his radio station. And so I went to his radio station to get some advertisements going. And that's how I met Mr. Fisher. And I was immediately impressed with him because, first of all, yes, he had that radio voice, but it was natural. He when he he spoke as a true man, and he had a professional quality to his voice, and he had this way about him in the way that I received him. He was a no nonsense man, but he had a good heart. He was smart, but he was so welcoming. He was so willing to help me, and I was someone who was just meeting him at that time. I did not know that this man knew everybody from James Brown on. I didn't know that anything about him like that. I just knew that I saw a man that had a very structured and organized business, and he meeting me for the first time was willing to allow me to come in and sit down and talk with him. And before we made arrangements for me to get advertisement, he gave me advice. And he not only gave me, let me put it like this, he didn't give me that surface advice. He gave me in-depth, detailed advice, things that really make the difference. Because some people in advertisement, they say, oh yeah, this, because they're just trying to make the sale. But he wanted me to benefit from the advertisements. So he was very detailed and advising me on how to go about certain things, what directions to look to, and giving me names of people that I could contact, and and giving me contact information. That's the other thing that I admire so much about him. One of the things that I learned from, because in my journey, so many times I've reached out to people to say, "Hey, I was wondering if maybe you could connect me with so and so and so, or hook me up with so and so and so." And they say, "Oh yeah, I can do that." And technically, all of this is a phone call or a text message, which would take less than 2 to 3 minutes of a person's time. But people will tell you, "Well, I'm going to do that for you," and I get back, and then they never get back with you. And then sometimes when you reach back out to them, sometimes some of them act like you're getting on their nerves. And I would be thinking, man, how long would it take you to just take, to call this person that you said you would recommend me, and just make the phone call and say whatever you're going to say. And I would feel like that. But Mr. Fisher was not that way. I want to send a shout out there to one of the funniest comedians I know personally, and one of the funniest comedians on the map, Aaron Phillips, aka Uncle Clean, and a couple of other aliases. What's up, brother? Um, I am I am acknowledging Mr. Joe Fisher, who, in my opinion, he was just a kingpin in media industry. So Mr. Fisher, he would sit down, he would talk to me, and he would point me in direction, and he would actually give me the information that I need. If he recommended me to somebody, he did not just leave me hanging. He did whatever he felt was within reason for to help me to make the connections, and he was just willing to do whatever he could to help me. So I learned a lot about the quality of this man. I wouldn't say this before, but I'll say it now. He was the one that connected me with Lenny Williams, you know, and so there's just a lot of people that won't really try to help you. They use fancy words, and they just blow you off. But he was just not that kind of a man. He was not that kind of a person. So he really tried to help me. And later on, and like I stayed in touch with him off and on, and I call him every now and then. And one time, a long, long, long stretch of time went between us, and I thought about him. I had him in my spirit, and I called him and I said, "Hey, Mr. Fisher, this is Barry McLeod. You remember me?" "Yes, Barry." And he talked and he said the kind of things that I knew that he remembered me, and he was the same person all the time. I remember some years, maybe a couple of years, maybe after I met him, maybe a year or two, I don't remember, after I met him. "What's up, Roz? Hello, Tony." Um, they were having an event for black-owned radio stations in Orlando, and there were a lot of people there. The mayor of Orlando was there, and this is a I don't want to call it a strange story, but this is one of my most memorable uh, moments with him, because at this point in time, I already had gotten to know him some, and I trusted him. I trusted his wisdom. I trusted his sincerity, and I trusted his integrity, and I didn't question it. And it was and we were sitting together. We were sitting at the same table together. In fact, we were sitting side by side from each other, and we were talking and just kind of catching up and having a good time. And I just enjoyed being in his presence. And then there was this other man who had been who I think is still in radio and owns his radio station. And he was speaking at that particular time. And me not knowing a lot of things at that particular time, I I uh, I was just being captured by what this man was saying. And Mr. Fisher was saying to me, "No, Barry, that's not true. That's not how this goes. That's not how this works." And this other guy who was speaking is a really cool guy, and I was fond of him. I got to know him a little bit, but Mr. Fisher helped me to see the bigger picture, the bigger perspective, to understand a little bit more about some of the ins and outs and some of the details of the business. And who would know better than him? This man had been in business long before this. Mr. Fisher had been in business long before this other man. So this other man really could have benefited from some of the information that Mr. Fisher would have been able to give him if they had if he had gotten to know Mr. Fisher. But Mr. Fisher was, as this man was speaking, Mr. Fisher was telling me, "Barry, see, it don't go like that because of this, this, this." And he was just giving me these details and these nuggets that I could also utilize and incorporate into the work that I do as a writer, director, producer. And I just learned a lot from this man in such a short space. And so fast forward, we go some more years ahead, and I would call him once or twice and say hello to him. I remember I told him one day, I said, "Mr. Fisher, you're very important to me," and I told him why. And I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that. So eventually, he would start broadcasting on Facebook. He would do this Facebook Live. He would do old school music on Saturdays, and then he would do gospel music on Sundays. And at this particular time, what I admired so much about him is that he was doing these two different mediums, but you could tell that this man loved God with all his heart, soul, and mind, and he was exercising his talents. And so I kind of contrasted that in my own world, where I had to consider making different decisions about loving God and being a musician in the church, and what people think about me going out doing R&B gigs and stuff like this. And always within myself, I felt like, look, I'm utilizing the gifts that God gave me, and there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing, at least not in my mind. A lot of church people would never agree with that. But I could look at him and I could see how he was putting joy in people's life on both Saturday and Sunday. He was playing music that meant something, music that took people down memory lane, music that was about love. And he was also doing music about God and music about being on the right road and having integrity. I mean, the man was versatile. So he benefited me in those kind of ways. You know, I will always be grateful for how he treated me and guided me and coached me down in Winter Haven, and especially sitting at the table with him in Orlando. And that was just really, really special. I got to know so many other people through him, networking with him. And when I started listening to him in his broadcasts on Facebook, it just helped me to come more full circle in how I could appreciate the full perspective of this man. Mr. Fisher used his platform to inspire people. He acknowledged people who would tap in, chime in with him and listen to his show and enjoy his show and go in the comment box and make comments to him. He acknowledged each and every one of them, which is something I'm trying to do better at. Hello, Cherry, my friend, Tanya, Greg, Carmen, all of you. Thank you so much for chiming in. See, I learned this kind of stuff from him, and he's far better at it than I am. I got to get better at it because sometimes I get going and I don't always acknowledge people. But he did that. He acknowledged everybody. Mr. Fisher had a certain segment on his show where he would play a new and upcoming artist's song. Now, he would vet the song. He would, he would listen to the song and decide if that song is the kind of song that he would be willing to play on his show. So if he played your song on his show, you can rest assured it was a quality song that fit into the scope and the vision of his goals for his show in terms of being positive and inspiring to somebody. So, and he played my songs. I remember one morning, I was doing something and I had him on and I was just listening to him and doing whatever I was doing in the house. And all of a sudden I heard my song being played. And I was like, oh, wow, he's playing my song. I rushed to my computer screen and I watch him. And the thing that I think all of his listeners and followers appreciated so much about him was when he's playing a song, you could see him just kind of grooving with it. You can tell when he liked his stuff, and he liked everything he played. So he was always just kind of grooving. And we just loved seeing him in his element like that. And he played my song. And then he played one of my other songs. He played the song I'm Sorry, which I have a link to it here. I don't know if y'all can see it on Restream here. I got another song called Never Too Late, which is an inspirational song. And he would play those two songs. And then he would come in and give me shout outs and stuff after he played them. And he would encourage other people to listen to my music. I just really appreciated him. You know, Mr. Fisher shared what was going on in the community. You know, he tried to help everybody that he could. He gave birthday shout outs to people. You know, he just did so much. He always acknowledged his family. You could tell he was a man that loved his family. He loved everybody in his family. And here and there, you could see pictures of him with his family, from his sisters, whoever the older ones was, all the way down to the younger ones. This is a man that truly believed in his family and loved his family so much, and I admired him so much. And one of the things I think every follower enjoys that so many songs that he played on his program, he personally knew the artists. From gospel to secular, he knew him. He had stories that he could share with you about the different artists. One of my favorite ones that he shared. Hello, Priscilla. One of the favorite ones that he shared that would make me laugh was those of you who know anything about the Staple Singers. He was telling how the Staple Singers, I think he said, was in Fort Lauderdale some years ago, and this was in his earlier years, and I guess he was a very young man, and he must have noticed one of one of Miss Pop Staples' daughters, and Pop Staples saw him, and I don't remember how he told the story, but Pop Staples had this cool way that I think he checked him. I don't know. It wasn't anything crazy or stupid or inappropriate, but he just did some, said some. Those of you who've been following, listen to the show, you probably know that story better than me, but it made me laugh when I heard it because the way he told it. But he was just an open person, you know. I don't know how many stations he owned, but he owned stations. He worked at stations. The man was just a prime example of leadership, kindness, what it means to set the right example, and there's a lot of good people in the world. And you know, he just was a man that, you know, it was easy to admire him and respect him. I liked his hook. One of his hooks he used to say when he played a song, and he'd say, "Okay, here's another one just like the other one," and I might have to use that sometime because I just like the way he rolled that out. But Mr. Fisher, the Big Fish, he was a man that he was talented. He was gifted. He played in a doo-wop group back in the day. He had a nice voice. He loved entertainment. He loved performing. He loved giving to people. He loved bringing people together. He loved participating and different events with people. And through radio, he touched so many lives over a lot of decades. Over a lot of decades. I don't know how many it is, but I've been doing what I've been doing for 4 decades. So I know he's got me beat by a long shot. So hats off to you, Mr. Joe Fisher. Thank you so much. If anybody in his family happens to see this broadcast, which I did tag his page, I just want you to know, coming from Florida's own Barry S. McLeod, that I am so grateful, so grateful to have had the opportunity to meet him. I appreciate all the advice that he gave me. I took heed to his advice, and I learned a lot from his example. And he is just somebody that I will always appreciate. I miss him already, and thank you so much for planning one of his shows this past Sunday, because I listened to it, and it just like it made me feel like, darn, he's not gone, he's still here. And it just was really touching and so enjoyable to watch him. And I just really hope that you all will, once you go through this, um, I'm just one that hopes, and I know I'm only one. I know there's thousands of other people that really hope that you'll do some reruns of his shows, because we will certainly watch. And God bless you during this time. I know that this is a challenging time, and prayers, sincere prayers, genuine prayers, they do make a difference. And I can assure you that I am one that has already and will continue to pray for your family. And may you rest easy. May you rest easy, Big Fish. Thank you again for everything. This is what I had to do on today's Conversations with the Masterful Raconteur. I don't want to toot my own horn about any of my work. I'll just say that you can find me at barrysmcleod.com, and you can visit me at bbingen.com, bbingn.com. Florida's own Barry S. McLeod, the right kind of different. Y'all have a good evening. God bless you.